Hi everyone, happy Friday. So I recorded this and I guess just where my mic was placed, it sounded terrible. So I'm doing a voiceover for this because I'm not flipping through them again. Um, I figured we'd do a flip through Friday today. I've been taking a bit of a break from coloring this past month so far. I haven't really colored very many pages at all. And the color along still going along, still going. It is alphabet color 2022D as in dog, or and E as in Easter. So alphabet color 2022DE. And that's any book with a title, artist, publisher, theme, beginning with the letter D or the letter E. And did that so we could squeeze in some Easter books this month. And hopefully I'll be able to get at least a page or two for it before the end of the month. I took some time off this past week to try to rest and recoup work wise, and it didn't really. It helped some, but I probably could have used another week. But at this point, this was the best I could do. So this is all I could really get until June, when my brother and I are hopefully going to Philadelphia. Um, but as always, that's something we'll have to see. And we got some news from my husband's family yesterday that his grandmother passed away, so those arrangements are happening over the weekend and into Monday. So it just it's been a rough couple months for sure. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever get. Sometimes it feels like I'll never get out from underneath this. But anyway, um, at some point we're going to get to the books. I am just yapping away, I guess. I could cut some, so let's do that and let's go ahead and get started with the books. So, here is the first book up. I saw this last time I was on Etsy picking up some of the other types of Japanese and Korean books I've picked up recently, like the one from Yururi and the cat coloring books. This is on Etsy translated to Wild Mouse Yuri's Journey Sketch, and it says a series of exciting coloring books. So there may be more than one coming. Who knows? This is a Japanese coloring book, and it is by Makiko Inatome. And yeah, I thought it looked cute. So now the size of it is a little interesting. I never seem to pay attention to sizes when I'm purchasing these books. So if you're familiar with Kanoko Igusa's Symphony of Cute Animals, the height of this book is very similar to that. It's just a little bit shorter, but not by much. But it is much wider. The width of it is more like a Kirby Rosanna's book. So the height is, and you can see from there, the height is pretty short compared to a Kirby Rosanna's book. So this is definitely a shorter book, but it is kind of long. So um, it's fine with me, but some people may not like that. So there is the cover, which is glossy, though, you know, I suppose if you used marker, you could probably color it if you really wanted to. I don't particularly mind the Japanese and Korean books that aren't translated, just because I typically don't mind I'm not reading them, I'm coloring them. Here I'm adjusting the camera because of the length of the book. I want to make sure I can get both pages in each flip through because these are double-sided. They do provide some already colored sample pages, which I think is pretty cool. As you can see, these are very, the person who colored these has a very soft touch, and it looks like probably some sort of colored pencil. maybe like a Holbein or maybe a Polychromos perhaps. I would like to use these. I particularly like it has an advent calendar. Now, this isn't typically the way I color. I don't usually color soft like that. Even with colored pencils, usually am more about vibrant color. But I feel like taking one of these sample pages and trying to recreate that on the page would be a really good challenge for me. And so we might even try it with the um, advent calendar later this year. Who knows? Here are some tips and tricks for coloring in the book. Uh, I usually don't pay too much attention to these, but I'm sure you can use a translate app on the phone if you really want to know what it's saying. So, and here is the introduction page. I apologize if it seems a little blurry on the left. I thought I had fixed that. Or maybe I was trying to fix it right here. Yeah, I thought I was fixing it. No, I guess not. It's as clear as it's going to get. I took my glasses off though. The text is a little blurry, but hopefully the pictures themselves are pretty clear. So here he is in a art studio. Looks very much like mine right now. Just stuff everywhere. That's about right. And what's cute about this is he seems to be an artist that goes out and sketches and paints what he sees around them. This looks to be the cast of characters. This is a little visual of his home, and then I guess of the town that he lives in. These are all guesses, of course. So these are divided into seasons. So we start off with spring. And this little thing that looks like a rabbit and a mouse with a little like cotton ball tail is the cutest little stinking thing ever. It's very cute. So what I figured out as I was looking through this book, yeah, it does seem blurry on the left side. That's a shame. Is these little pictures that have the free standing objects. The way I look at it is those are from his actual sketchbook. Like he's sketching that himself. I don't know if that was what they actually intended for it to be, but that's the way I see it. So here he's out running, getting ready, just ready to go in the spring to start sketching all this stuff coming alive around him. The birds and the bees and the bugs and the flowers. Or it could be the birds are just chasing him. I mean, if you want to get dark about it, the birds could just be chasing him right now and he's running for his life. But I guess, it's just a glass half full, half empty kind of perspective. So here he is sketching away, and to the right and then to the left, I guess, would be some of the examples from his book. I do like this book has a nice variety of images. You get the little freestanding, group of images of sketches on one page. You'll get small little scenes like the one on the right there that aren't necessarily like a full-size, full-page image. You can color as little or as much as you want on those, and then you get like the double page spreads or the single full-size, complex page. That's one of the things I really like about this book is it has a nice variety. So there is the sample page we saw earlier. And then on the right, like I said, you got the smaller, you don't have to do a background on that. Though when I looked at this, I was like, what exactly have they done with that bird's nest? Was it an occupied bird's nest and they think they're helping by giving the bird some eggs? Like the bird's like, hey, I was going to use this nest. Or did they take the eggs that were already in the nest and paint them? Because that's really going to throw the bird off when he comes back. I don't know. That seems Hopefully the bird will be appreciative. It's very, very creative, I suppose. So maybe that's why the bird's chasing the mouse because he got in there and painted his eggs and he didn't want that. Here they are picking some berries, a double page spread. Looks like him, his little squirrel friends, that hedgehog looking thing, lady, mother, whatever. I would probably be the sleeping squirrel in the middle. And here they are enjoying, I guess, some pie from the berries they picked. The line art is a dark gray. It's not super thick. I wouldn't say it's thin, but for, I think, colored pencil work or watercolor and colored pencil work or whatever, I think this line art's great. I love it. When they use little leaves as umbrellas, I think that's the cutest stinking thing. I don't know why, but it's so charming. That and animals acting like people is just always a winner for me. And, but for what I would use in this book, I think it'll be fine. Now, here I'm kind of looking at the paper. I felt the Symphony of Animals book, and I would say this paper is smoother than that book if you wanted a example. It's smoother and the paper is pretty thick. So like I could see using watercolors on these probably without a lot of issue. I would be curious to try ink tints as long as you just, used a light layer and didn't really press down or use a lot of heavy layers. Um, I'm not sure about, I'm sure paint would be fine. I'm not sure about, alcohol markers, of course, would probably bleed through. This must be like a May Day festival. I think that picture on the left would be one I'd want to try ink tints with because I think it would be a good picture for that. Or the one on the right would be a good one too. So, very cute pictures. Very Huck Finn of him on his little raft out there. And that dude in the plane behind him. Like, it looks like such a quiet country scene except for just the sound of this droning airplane overhead. Like, I feel like the airplane's a little, is a little unexpected touch in that one. And here he is coming to see the beach and hang out with the lighthouse guy, having perhaps some fish soup, if you will. But I would really like to see like a light watercolor layer on some of this with then some pencil shading on top. Because with pencils, I tend to press heavily with them, and I'm sure that would leave indentations in this type of book. So you would want a light touch with the pencils, and if I really wanted some, good color, I would say watercolor underneath and maybe even some pastel pencils on the top. Now this one's weird. So when I looked at the page, went back and looked at the page on Etsy, it showed this kind of streakiness on the black background. I'm assuming it's a printer error. If it wasn't for how streaky it looked on the far right, I probably at first glance would have assumed it was just a gradient type background where it's lighter closer to the surface. But I noticed that the line art on the creatures it all looks a little washed out in that strip there. So I think it's a printing error. Now I can black that background myself if I need to. I'm not too worried about that. But just as an FYI for people, that are purchasing this book, that one set of pages isn't enough to completely thwart me from the book, but it might be for others. So, and it's super streaky there on the right, so I really just don't think it was on purpose. So there's a dude in the airplane flying with the birds. And here's Autumn. I think this would be a fun year-long book. Like if you wanted a serious, um, pencil or watercolor type book to work through for seasonal, I think this would be a great one. Because, like I said, you've got a good variety of pictures, so not every picture is hugely complex, but then you do still have some pages like that one on the right to fill in as well. So I don't know. This might be a good goal for me for next year. I would love to try the watercolor and pastel pencils. Like I said, those and then using regular colored pencils on top of watercolor, I think are gonna be. I'm getting in a real mood to use those lately. Like maybe fewer pictures, but spending more time on the pictures is kind of what I'm thinking. Here they are taking those pumpkins, baking away. I'm sure that's happening back behind the scenes, and then you've got them choosing the goodies at the bakery or the patisserie. I think that's how you pronounce it. Very cute Halloween pictures. Love the guy with the little eye mask there. And then here is winter. And of course Christmas. You have an advent calendar in here, which I think's fantastic. Definitely my speed when it comes to like a daily coloring picture. Now that one on the right might be a little time consuming with like the cobblestones and stuff, but of course I see the cats in that one, and that was one of the pictures that motivated me to get this book. I'm not gonna lie. I will check and see if this is on Book Depository. Oftentimes I will find I do the work. I try to do the work for y'all. I'll find a book on Etsy, and because I didn't know the title, I couldn't search for it on Book Depository. Then come to find out it was on Book Depository, and I could have saved money on shipping. But, then I pass that knowledge off to y'all. So I will see if I can track this down somewhere other than Etsy to see if I can save you guys a little on shipping costs. But oftentimes with the Japanese and Korean books, I don't know the official title, so I can't really search for it in Book Depository. Usually I have trouble. So, bunch of Christmas goodies. Taking a nap with a creepy little gnome watching over him. Okay. That is some scary story mess right there, if you ask me, but okay. Stuff of nightmares. Okay, so it does look like you can buy it on Amazon Japan, so I will put that link down as well, so you guys have that. So, all right. And as far as a series of books, I believe this is the second book in the series from what I was looking into. Um, I'll put a link if I can find the first book in there too. So, all right. So this one is called The Way Home by Morgan O'Brien. It is a galactic coloring book. It is the latest by this artist. I've seen others with the books from Morgan O'Brien. This is the first book I have. And if you've seen the Matchstick Mouse series and the one that looks very similar to a popular Nintendo Switch game, that's this artist. I am trying to show some restraint and not just snap up all those. I did at least want one book by Morgan O'Brien so I could see how it looked. This, of course, looks very similar to a popular Disney character in Disney series. So, won't say for sure what that is, but you can probably guess if it looks familiar to you. Now, one of the things I will show here, this is actually, it's Amazon printed, but it is a shorter book than a typical Amazon book. So, like when you look at a Kameliya Angelkova book, this is slightly shorter. It did get bent a little bit in shipping, which I was kind of bummed about, but it's fine. But I wanted one to try, and it is a little not as wide either. I just realized that. So, just as a heads up, it may be a little smaller than what you're used to seeing. So, most of these are going to be little kind of snapshots of scenes, I guess, like little circle cutouts of scenes, which I think is cute, as you can see here. So, dark, bold line art. I think these are great for markers, pencil. I would like to probably use markers and either pastel or pencil in this book, or just a darker marker outline to um, give it a little bit of depth. And that frog, it looks terrified, and he should for good reason, because that thing is the character is a giant garbage disposal. So he's looking for a snack, is what he's looking for. So some of these do have black backgrounds, which I like very much. I found last month I really enjoyed the smaller, less complicated pages. I guess the not smaller, but the less complicated pages in the Alexandra Franzese books. And so I'm getting kind of drawn to these little less complicated books, especially ones that have like little snapshot images like this, because I can still make them as complicated as I want, but they don't take as long as like a full page does. So you still get the benefit of, you know, a background and a foreground in the image, but it's not encompassing the whole page, so it's a lot easier to oh boy, those eggs are not gonna, it's not gonna end well for those eggs. And so most of the creatures in here, I am not as well versed in the lore of this world. I could probably ask my husband what most of these monsters and creatures are, and he would know. But me, what I'll probably do, I might do that and just see what they look like in, you know, on screen. But I will probably just color everything a bunch of wacky colors, because this seems like a wacky color kind of book. Of course, he will be green. Of course. I like the idea of him just staying consistently green as the world changes around him, basically. So I think I like the ones with him with the animals best. Though I like the one with him balancing on the rock too. He seems like a chill dude to hang out with, you know. It seems like for the most part everybody seems to like hanging out with him. He doesn't seem to have that many issues um, with fighting creatures, so most of the time he seems like he's snuggling with them. So he's that guy at the party. He's the guy at the party everybody wants to hang out with, and never gets any fights, and it's always the chill dude at the party. See, there he is taking a nap with them. He's that kind of friend you'd had over, and then you both just lay there and take a nap, and like you're hanging out. Now, see, this thing looks like something from the Dark Crystal. Am I wrong here? Because that's not the world this is supposed to be. But I thought Dark Crystal when I first saw this character. But maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. That would be a cute, interesting combination, I suppose. I love that little coat with the ears cut out. Again, you think, oh, he just likes eggs. No, he likes eggs, all right, but that's not going to end well for the eggs. I can tell you that. So, very cute book. Like I said, I am trying to restrain. I have a birthday next month, and I am trying to restrain myself from snapping up all the other Morgan O'Brien books out there right now. So, Kameliya Angelkova has a new series. It looks like starting up. These are 50 diminutive countryside scenes. As you know, she's been particularly popular for her miniature series and her mandalas, but these are kind of a step up from the miniatures. These are basically scenes, like country scenes, but not encompassing the whole page. Again, kind of like that, kind of like a snapshot. Again, you know, including some of the scenery, some of the trees, sometimes, but leaving a lot of the page blank so it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming, but you still get a really awesome, it feels, I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure there is an artist term for this type of art. I'm sure there's terminology here and I'm not explaining it well, but you guys get what I'm talking about. So this is the first one in what I'm assuming is going to be a series of diminutive scenes. Y'all can pause that if you would like to look and read. And then a this book belongs to. And so here you go. So like I said, it's not the whole page, it's just basically a snapshot. Also kind of reminds me, if you have the Dover Spark book Circles of Fun, I can't remember who that's by, kind of reminds me a little bit of that too. Like I really am warming up to that type of art right now. It's cute ducks. That would be a great one for this month. So I could see markers and pastels in here. So I love where I've used a lot of watercolor in the 50 Jungle Scenes book, if you guys remember from the past few months. I love how the watercolor looks, or like the ink tints and stuff. The problem I started running into is all the different stuff I was trying on the pages, I guess because there's 50 pages in the book, started making it difficult to navigate. I guess especially treating the pages with satin glazing liquid made them a little thicker, thus was making the book a little difficult to wield. Kitties having a meeting. Who knows what they're talking about? I really like that one with the well. I think that's really pretty. And if the lack of a border really just drives you crazy, this is where I was saying, well, I think I said it in the previous one, I would love to draw, but I don't want to put the practice into it. I admire people that have the talent and the desire to put in actual practice with drawing, because if I had chances to like download skills that I could just access without having to put any work into them, drawing would be one of them. Like, I feel comfortable enough in a case like this, I could draw a frame around the page, or I could sketch in something in the background or the foreground, something small, or if it's a person, sketch something on them to add to their clothing or something, or add a design to an egg or something like that. Like, I feel comfortable enough doing that kind of stuff, but really seriously drawing something into these pictures would, I'm not to that level of comfort. Piggies! But like, if it just really bothers you, there's no frame, you could technically create your own frame with these as well. So, but I realize, like I said, with that book getting a little unwieldy, I think I would love to use watercolors in this, but if I decide to at some point, I think what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and split the book out on its own, and then put it in, like, something with sleeves or something. That way the thickness of the book isn't made worse by me adding stuff to the pictures. That's the one downside to mixed media, is if you're your technique thickens the paper in any way, and there's a lot of pages in the book that can, make it a little difficult to navigate the book. So probably for a while I will just be sticking to markers and pastel or colored pencils, just to see if, especially in the Jungle Miniatures book, just to try to get past that. And, like I said, these would be great for some watercolor base. I just, I probably should have started that in a smaller book. I like this one with the clothesline, but that well needs a cap on it because I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. You're just asking for me to trip over that laundry basket and go head first into that well. Like, this is a dangerous, or maybe, maybe it's supposed to be that way. You got the bird spies and the bird houses in there. Would they save me or would they leave me to rot? I know, I add such a cheery look to some of these pictures. I know you guys just love that. Oh, oh my gosh, bees. So, there was this huge bee in our front porch the other day. Usually, when the weather starts turning nice, we'll see an influx of wasps on the porch and bees. And not usually bees, though. And he managed to get it outside. I thought it was just a big wood bee, but he said he thought it was a honeybee, so he didn't want to ruin its day, and so he managed to coax it back outside, which is cool by me. I hate all insects, but not equally. Wasps and yellow jackets are they have no redeeming qualities, none whatsoever. Don't try to convince me because it's not gonna work. But bees, like, with the exception of the ones that chase me around the yard if I'm wearing a certain color shirt, for the most part, we have an understanding. You stay over here and do your business, and I'll stay over here and do mine. So they're not out. They don't sense fear. They don't sense fear like apparently the other ones do. And so I would like to do a wildflower patch. We got a strip of yard on the right side of our house we're not really using. I'd like to basically just throw a bunch of seeds out there and, square out a little section and make it kind of a bee, butterfly, bird friendly set. It would have weeds, of course. Low maintenance gardening is the only way I can get any sort of flowers. I'll probably try to plant some marigolds this spring, and then generally I just leave them alone to grow and flourish because with my illness issues, I don't have the energy to fuss about with flowers. And so I'd like to throw some seeds out and just see what happens, if the birds don't eat them all. And so while I don't like bees all that much, I do realize they are a huge benefit. So I think having a mix of wildflowers that would be like hummingbird friendly and bee friendly and butterfly friendly would be nice. So, and there's a good one for this month too, with the ducks and the doggo. They do have some seasonal ones in here, like the ones with the apples. I would consider could be fall pictures. Think they had one with some hay. Boy, it's a whole lot different doing this as a voiceover because um, uh, I'm not. I don't quite remember what I said where and whatnot. So, but it was pretty terrible. A lot of my awkward microphone breathing. I just didn't have it far enough away from my mouth. It's extra sensitive microphone, so. But anyway, I like that one with the sheep just doing their thing. I've also, speaking of like, birds and stuff, I've been busy with bird feeders, buying food for squirrels the last few weeks, and setting it up. There's a bird feeder right outside the screen porch right now that the cats are in heaven with. No worries, the birds and squirrels are perfectly safe. My cats can't get to them, they can't get to my cats. And the outdoor cats I have right now, I feed them. I've seen them have zero interest. I've had bird feeders and I've had squirrels in my bird feeders for years. I've never seen them show any interest in the bird feeders. So this might be a good yearly one to work through because you've got like, different pictures for different seasons, though I think the far majority would be spring and summer. But you do have a few winter pictures, so. Very cute series. Yes, I needed another 50s book like a hole in the head. I'm gonna have to start doing I gotta finish one before I get another one thing, I think, with these as well, because I want to support her, but I'm also like, this is getting crazy because I'm never gonna finish the ones I have as it is. So, I haven't been back to 50 Jungle Miniatures since February. So, anyway. Alright, this last one, I'm going to just show a few pages in the basic book. But Color Questopia has come out with a new type of color by number, the Mystery Colors, their version. This is the Wild Animals one. Now, y'all know I love me some mystery colors. Probably by far my favorite color by number type of book is the mystery color page, where I don't know what I'm coloring. I just get to guess as I go along. Most of these books do have the solutions in the back, but most of the time I don't go looking for them. I just want to color it myself. And since this was a new type of book for them, I decided to purchase it to try it. Typically with color by numbers, I am of the, if I have one from this artist, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish one before I buy another one when it comes to color by number. But generally when they come out with something new, particularly since this is my favorite type of color by number, I will purchase one just to kind of try it out. And usually with these mystery colors, it's hard to tell what the actual page is, because this is like very bunch of squiggly lines and it's not as easy to tell. So I'm just going to show a few pages because I mean, you're just looking at a bunch of squiggly lines on each page. You can't really see what it is. Though in this book I found that you can make a good guess, which is fine. I'm okay with that, making a guess. Now some of the books that do that, it'll look like one type of animal and it turns out to be completely something different. So the only downside to these is that they don't use they use a standard 24 color palette, but each page doesn't use a lot of colors. So if you're just looking for a fairly simple color palette, this is definitely the way to go. Here's their current standard 24 color palette. But like I've noticed with some of the Color Questopia pages, sometimes just to make it look a little more complex, like for light blue, I'll use two different types of light blue and kind of go back and forth with them in the sky just to give it a little bit of depth. I feel like that might be a little bit harder in this type of book. So, but we shall see. So here, if you want to pause, I'm going to be flipping through a few pages that you can read and look at. Now this one I will probably tackle a page in, if not today, then this weekend. So, and the flesh tone one, of course, is any flesh tone you want to use, if that's the color. If there's any spaces or on an image without a number, those are considered white. So you can just leave those blank. They do include bonus images at the end of their books. Those are from some of their other books in their series. If they're older books, they will probably have a different color palette. So just keep that in mind. What you see here with their newest stuff may not be the same type of palette in their older sample pages. So I think this is a bear. Actually, looking at it here, I wasn't as sure when I had it open at first, but looking at it from here, I think this one's a bear because there's his face. And I can tell he has a big body. But like this one only uses 6 colors. So this is like probably a deer or a stag. This one's a little helpful to know what the animal is because this would be a good one to try for this month so I can participate in my own color along. Maybe this is an ox or a moose, maybe. At first I was thinking a cow, but a cow's not really well, I guess you could have a wild cow, a free range cow, but most of the time they're not. So, who knows? Pretty sure that one's an elephant. That's the tiger from the front page. Lion? Am I lying? So most of these I feel like you can probably get a general idea. Now this one I have no idea. Maybe a rhinoceros. Maybe a panda. Anyway, so like I said, it's just getting to the point where it's kind of like, all right, I can see some of these, but not all of them. That might be a wolf. The previous one, that might be a hippo. A monkey of some sort. A jaguar. That one with the spots is pretty easy to... Something with a really long tail. I don't know what it is, but it's something with a long tail. So there we go. I'll show some of the bonus pages here in the back. Now, like I said, it's getting to the point, I have so many Color Questopia books, I'm having to wait until I finish one to get another one. This is one that's on my wish list that I got to wait on. It's cute. I think most of these are actually. I might have this one. I'll have to go look. I hope I do because that squirrel is stinking adorable. I love it. Been real big on squirrels lately. They were constantly eating my sunflower seeds. And then when I looked online, it's like, yeah, those are good, but it's better to have a variety of things. And I was kind of like, okay, so I guess some dried fruits and nuts for them too. Why not? We're just feeding the whole neighborhood at this point. I think the squirrels are coming back behind my property. We have a few trees at the back end of our property, but not many, and so I think most of them are kind of in the woods behind our house. But they know where the good stuff is, so. And here's a few pages if you come up with a set of markers you like to use and you want to write them down, which ones you're using, and a testing page. So, all right. Oh, what am I doing? I don't know what to say. Oh, there. Okay. Well, there is the solution. Sorry, I didn't properly prepare you for that. If you didn't want to see them, at least they had them in the back and not the front. There's been a few books I've had that don't even have solutions in them, which I think is pretty wild. I think some people like to have them, so I don't care as long as they're in a place I can't easily see them. So here we go. 4 new books, new to me. Well, actually 3 of the 4 are new releases from the past week or two. The mouse one, I'm not real sure when that was done. I will have another Flip Through Friday next Friday, which will be more new books I've purchased because while I haven't been coloring, the one hobby I have been indulging in is purchasing stuff. I was down a little bit about that the other day, but I was like, really, other than just making sure I use my markers so they don't dry up, it's not going anywhere. It'll be here when I'm ready for it, so I just don't need to stress about it, I guess. So, trying not to. I'm going to try to do a color and chat this weekend. I don't know if it'll be, I want to do a Josh Dunbar picture because I haven't done one from his books on video yet, but we'll see. And probably won't have one next Tuesday because of everything going on, but then next Friday I'll have another flip through. Probably coloring supplies. Oh, okay. Well, that's the end of the video. So, bye for now.